Well, good morning. Still working on the 71 Norton. Today's objective is to hang the wiring harness and make all the connections necessary up inside the headlight. Run power to the black box down here. Get power to the battery from the battery. And eliminate all the unnecessary wires that are no longer being used. And get all the lights working. So we're going to try that. That's what we're going to try to do today. I've been, let's see, what time is it? It's 10 o'clock. I've been out here for about an hour, but we'll just start at 10 o'clock. One of the first things I'm going to do is this is the light that goes into the instrument, speedometer or tachometer, and that's how they make it. They run power to it, and then they use the body as frame ground. Now that means that they require a good ground on the shell of the instrument holder, getting all the way to the instrument itself up in here to get a good ground. That's from here, through here, through here, through here, through here, down here, and possibly through the bearings, if not through here and into a ground wire that is theoretically hooked to the shell. So it's convoluted and it works pretty good, but I don't like it. So what I do on these lights is I add a ground wire. This is a completed assembly. You can see it has red and black, black being power, red being ground. I'm going to walk you through making this into that. Okay, so I'm going to get set up and we'll start. Let's see, what do we talk about? Okay, first of all, I use thin multi-core solder, good solder. You need a file, cutters, strippers, and special tools if you use these to put Lucas connectors on. I'll show you about those. Basically, it's a pair of pliers that I cut a groove in, and I can use that groove to push the Lucas connectors into the Lucas bullets into the connectors. Made those years ago. What we're going to do is solder this wire to the body of this lamp. Now, first and foremost, solder adheres to clean wires, clean surfaces, much better than oxided surfaces. So I took this over and actually ran it on the wire wheel. You can, if you don't have a wire wheel or whatever, just take a X-Acto knife and scrape away like so till you get a nice shiny surface. That also goes for the wire. The wire should be nice and shiny. I'm going to set up a tripod pretty quick, but if your wire is oxided, clean it off. So now you have shiny wire that's going to be put onto a shiny light socket to do the ground. I'm going to set up the tripod now and talk about soldering. Okay, firstly, as I said before, a clean surface is important. So I wire wheeled this area. And secondly, I've got it in the vise here, just being held gently so that it won't move when I go to solder on it. I have the wire stripped back, and it's nice, fresh, clean wire. If it wasn't, I would make it shiny by cleaning it. Here's a hint. These tips on these soldering machines are expensive, and I use a lot of them, and so I make my own. This is just 10 gauge wire left over from some household wiring. Cut it out, strip it down, bend it, stick it in here, and it works just fine, thank you very much. Hope that doesn't upset anybody at the soldering machine place. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a bead of solder here, bead of solder and put solder on the wire so that they're tinned, and then I'm going to solder them together so that it's connected. I'll put this into the tripod now and let you see the process. All right, try to set things up so I don't get my big fat hands in the way. Let's see if I can put the solder bead onto the light bulb first. As we were taught way back when in the Air Force, the solder goes on the target, not on the wire. So that's a nice little bed of solder right there. Now let's see if I can do the let's see if I can do this somehow. Get it on the wire. Try doing this stuff one-handed. I don't know where to turn. Hang on. There we go. That'll hold that in place, theoretically. Oh, not a good day. There. Still seeing it? Yeah, good enough. Okay, so I got some good solder on the wires. Now, see if I can get in here with my big fat fingers. Hold this so that you can see what I'm doing and connect that wire to the socket. It's finally getting hot enough. Okay, you've got liquid solder there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a pretty good solder joint right there. Not pretty, but it's good. It's tight. So that's, I don't know, step secondly. I'll stop for a moment. All right, let's continue the process over here and make it a little prettier. Shrink tubing over the wire. All the way up. Larger shrink over the socket. I could have put an intermediate shrink in this area here, but come on, it looks better than it did just like this. All right, let's strip off these wires and put the bullets on them. I think it's going to be a little bit more. Nice shiny wire. A trick on these Lucas bullets, okay? They're wonderful bullets. Yep, you can see them. But they oxidize gently, and the tips are beautiful but gray. When I'm working with these things, I leave a file here and run them down there, and now you have a nice shiny tip. And once again, I'll say it again, shiny metal accepts solder a whole lot better than gray metal. So let's put this on here. Let's put this on here. Spread these just a little, keep them from falling off. And see if I can't solder and talk to you and hold this. No, I can't. I'm going to stop for a minute. Okay, I can't solder and hold the camera at the same time, so I've set this up like so. Let's warm up the tip. Tin the tip. I get splashes of solder all over the floor. Okay, minimum heat, minimum solder. That's the rule. All right, those are pretty good solder joints there. And what you can do for neatness, okay. They look pretty good. Okay, let's go over to the bench. All right, let's take out the old incandescent light bulb, the new LED light bulb. That's nice. And now we could hook these together, black to black, red to red, like so, and we're ready to go inside the headlight. And that way they're wired together, okay? And I could even, I'll show you how these work. I mean, just take these, open them wide open, put it like so, press them in, okay? Now, I really shouldn't do this because I can't get this wire through the back of the headlight, but I wanted to show you. So I'm going to take these out when I install it. But now all I have to do is run headlight on, voltage to this one, ground to this one. I've got two beautiful lights for inside the headlight, or inside the instruments, I'm sorry. Now, just for grins, I'm going to bring the battery over and we'll test the brightness. I don't know if you can see my battery. It's an old battery. I've put some stuff on. Let's see if I tilt this up a little. It's got a 10 amp fuse built in. I wired it, and an on-off switch. So I can use this for bench testing. And two connectors here that go to a bunch of different adapters that I made so I can use it for different purposes. This is strictly two little alligator clips. So I'm going to put this on here, and it's live now. Let's see what happens when we go from ground to power. Whoa! How's that for illumination inside your instruments? I mean, that's impressive. You'll be able to see your speedometer and tachometer at night. However, don't ever forget what Joseph Lucas said way back when they talked to him about his dim headlights. He said, "Gentlemen do not ride motorbikes at night." Yeah, right. Anyway, that looks nice, doesn't it? Okay, these are ready to go inside the headlight. I'm going to start hanging wires and hooking things up. All right, well, it's been a full day. Let's see, what time is it? Scooby-Dooby-Doo, and it's 4 o'clock. I need to go clean up, put on some civilian clothes, non-mechanical clothes, non-mechanic clothes, and been invited to dinner over at my good buddy Steve and his sweet wife Maggie's house. So I have to go over there looking as human as possible. So I've got an hour to make the transformation. It's been a full day, and once again, just not that much to show. Well, actually, here's some to show. First of all, I mounted the key on a bracket I found. It's very nice. I'll probably paint it black before I'm done. Wired the wiring in from the battery to the ground, battery to the fuse. Pick up the wire at the power, take it up to the front of the bike, drop it off halfway up so that you have power now going to the boiler box, so your ignition is powered. Up here, I installed the lights that we made this morning and have all the wires hanging out of here. The wires going to the ammeter are in place. By the way, the ammeter is not really for this bike. Ammeters were in pre-71s. So this wiring harness, which actually has wires for the ammeter, is either a pre-71 or a harness for another bike. Anyway, I'm using it, making it work. A lot of the colors don't match, and the switches that we bought and the color codes don't match, and just have to figure it all out. These wires go to the horn, these two, and this one goes to the kill switch that's going to come back here, and this will be spliced into one of the wires coming from the magnetic pickup to ground it, and that will act as a kill switch. So this button here will ground the wire here, which will ground out the magnetic pickup, which will kill the engine, as it is supposed to do. So it's coming together. It was a very busy day, and like I say, not a lot to show for it visually. A lot of work, but not a lot of show. These are all ready for use, various and sundry reasons. Not sure what I'm going to do back here because none of this really makes sense. I'm going to strip all this out, bare all the wires down to this point, and try to figure out exactly what the rest of this thing is doing. Because, I mean, this is for a Zener, and of which it doesn't have, and that would take this all the way down to here, which on the other side, which doesn't make sense. And there's a lot of wires in here that we just don't need. So I'm going to strip that out and get rid of all the wires that we no longer need. I will leave the wires for the turn signals in place in case someday somebody wants to add turn signals. But other than that, the wires from the old charging system, A bunch of wires. Just don't need them. So things will get cleaned up tomorrow, hopefully. That's where we are. And I always got tired of working inside headlights and not having enough light. So I brought this this light assembly. Gives me lots of light inside the headlight. Makes life a lot easier. And I'll show you one other thing that you might get a kick out of. This is my soldering machine. And this is the cable. And like the wire to my I made it longer so I can go everywhere. So my heat gun and my soldering gun, nice long cables. Makes life easier. So the fewer things on the bench. I guess that's progress.